Welcome back in. Final segment of Cougar Nation, breaking down the loss and looking ahead to a massive top 25 battle this weekend down in Tempe against Arizona State. Cougar Nation, sponsored by Central Bank. How are you feeling about the game this Saturday? Do you feel like all was lost against the Jayhawks, Mitch?
I don't. I think BYU can bounce back, and I think they can beat Arizona State. You know, Arizona State's riding high right now, and Sam Levitt, the quarterback for ASU, he's a redshirt freshman, and you know BYU recruited him out of the transfer portal this past December. He took an official visit to BYU, but ultimately decided on the Seals, which at the time was interesting because ASU had what was viewed as their future quarterback in Jaden Rashada. Levitt beats him out in spring ball. Rashada goes to Georgia, and now Levitt's got ASU knocking on the door of a Big 12 title game, and BYU as well with Jake Retzlaff and their offense. So it's an interesting game, and Levitt, of course, he's the brother to Dallin Levitt, former BYU linebacker. His dad also played at BYU as a linebacker in the early 90s with the Ty Detmer teams. This is a good matchup. I think that, you know, BYU's defense has got to be outstanding again, but I do believe they'll travel. And then it zeroes in on the details, the fine margins with BYU's offense, and if they can fix the issues that have been plaguing them the past 2.5 games. So I think this is going to be a down-to-the-wire game once again. I don't think any thought of, Chase Roberts thinking 20, 30 points. I know they probably believe they can, but this is going to be a close game, and I think BYU will have opportunities to pull off the upset. I don't think ASU is going to just roll BYU by any means.
Saturday night, driving home from LaVell Edwards Stadium, Mitch, I was dejected. It just felt like the season was over. I won't deny it. It felt like they can't beat Arizona State. Everything's trending in the wrong direction. Jake's not playing well. The defense played their best game of the season, and it wasn't enough. And then you start to look at the stats and think about the game, and I thought Michael hit the nail on the head. BYU dominated this game in some respects. They were much better at the line of scrimmage. Their rush game was significantly better. Their defense was outstanding. There were just a few critical mistakes, one of which was a complete fluke. You can't blame anybody. That just happens. That bounce did not go their way. But BYU, if they clean up a few little things, at least get points in the red zone. At the very least, you get field goals every time. You got a chance with this defense. I'm feeling a lot better about this game. And then you look at this Arizona State team. They're having a great year. They were picked dead last in the conference. We spoke with Kenny Dillingham at Big 12 Media Days. We'll probably have a chunk of that interview on pregame this Saturday morning. It's impressive what they've done, but they haven't beaten any great teams. Then you look at their stats and how they stack up against other teams in the Big 12. They're not great at anything. They're just average. They're run of the mill. Like, this team is certainly beatable. You're not going up against Colorado. You're not going up against some other high-flying team in another conference. This is a solid Arizona State team, or if you don't play good football, you can lose. But this Arizona State team is not some spectacular juggernaut where you go on the road and you feel like it's going to be impossible to get a win.
Very similar teams. They play complementary football, and I think BYU's got a little bit better defense, but you look at the numbers on ASU, I mean, they have been pretty solid as of late. I mean, they held Kansas State in check. I mean, they were up 24-0, and then Kansas State made a little bit of a run to make it closer than it looked, but they win that game in Manhattan 24-14, and we know how good Kansas State can be. BYU took care of business against K-State a long time ago this season, which feels like a lifetime ago.
Right.
But, BYU, I think, can definitely win this game. And Arizona State has not been used to a spotlight. This is a new dynamic for Kenny Dillingham's team that they haven't experienced even as of last week on College Game Day. Desmond Howard saying, "Why are we picking Arizona State, K-State?" The man had no idea it was 2 7-2 teams. Like, do your homework, Des. They've been flying under the radar completely. Now they're into the spotlight. BYU's been living in the spotlight for about 6 or 7 weeks. They're used to this now and the pressures that come with that. That's a dynamic here at play too. But, Jake Retzlaff's got to be great. If you're going to win on the road, you have to be excellent at the quarterback position. And so this is a big opportunity for Jake to make it clear that, what happened last week was not who he is, and he is the quarterback that shined against K-State, that shined against Baylor, and got it done and put BYU, and even against Arizona. BYU's had many games where they had a dominant performance offensively. They got to get back to that, and I think that could bode well for BYU down the stretch run, because I do believe, and I know the coaches and players aren't going to be talking about it, but we can in the media. I think they're going to beat Houston in the regular season finale, and I think it comes down to this game. You win this one, you're going to Arlington. So everything's on the line here for BYU. Go out there, go seize the opportunity, and get BYU in the Big 12 championship game. And that would be an incredible accomplishment for this program in only year 2 of being in this league.
It would be huge. They'll have to learn some lessons after the loss. Here's what Tyler Batty said about what the Cougs can do ahead of Arizona State.
The message is to just learn your lesson and get after it. We've got another game this week, and so it's really just, hey, learn your lesson. Let's go to work and make sure this doesn't happen again.
It's something that can be done. Like I'm looking at this Arizona State schedule, man. It just does not impress me. Again, credit to them. They're winning games. They're undefeated at home. But look at the margin, Mitch, on some of their home wins. Mississippi State win by 7. Next home game, they have Utah comes on October 11th. They win by 8. They beat Kansas by 4. They just beat a UCF team by the skin of their teeth by 4 points as well. So Arizona State, they're defending their home field down in Tempe, but they're not blowing people out. Like this, if Jake can bounce back and play a good football game and you can run the football, I think BYU can win this game, and dare I say maybe even comfortably if they can do those two things.
Yeah, UCF, Arizona State's last home game, they had a 17-7 lead, and then Arizona State turned it on in the second half. So, ASU, but they've been really good at home. They have not lost a game at home this season, and so it's going to be a rocking crowd. The secondary market for tickets, it's a hot ticket. A couple of weeks ago, you could have probably got into this game for $40. Now you're talking hundreds of dollars. So clearly the locals in Phoenix for ASU and probably BYU fans are really excited for this one. I expect a electric atmosphere, and I kind of always wondered to myself, how long it would take for a BYU team to, play someone in the Big 12 that if that team beat BYU, would that team storm the field? And, go in there, BYU, and try to prevent that, because this could be a storming the field situation if Arizona State, gets this game. Some of our sibling stations down in Phoenix, Arizona Sports, they've been saying today this is the biggest game at ASU since 2014 when they played Notre Dame in Tempe. So they're looking at this one as a massive opportunity, and it's huge for BYU too. And if BYU wins this game, Matt, they need the Utes to then take down Iowa State, and they can clinch their Big 12 championship game appearance. You're going to be cheering for the Utes on Saturday night?
Absolutely. Let's throw up the fingers. Let's
sing
the song. Yeah, absolutely. Getting to the Big 12 championship game and even having Utah help them get there, think about the bragging rights you would get. The first team in this new Big 12 to get the championship game, maybe a chance to get to the playoff, the first team in the state to get to the college football playoff. If I got to root for the Utes at some point to get that done, then absolutely, Mitch.
Does Utah just mail it in against Iowa State knowing that they can help BYU? All right, guys, BYU won today. Let's just call it good. We'll try to get that 6th win in the final game of the season.
That would be some phenomenal gamesmanship. That's good stuff, man. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'll be there. You'll be there. We'll have coverage for you on KSLSports.com. It's a massive football game. Is this the biggest? I'm trying to think what's a fair comparison to the stakes. I feel like it's been, I don't even, 2001 maybe? Like it feels like you have to go way far back in terms of stakes.
Probably Coastal 2020.
Okay, fair.
That one, because I think we felt that there was maybe New Year's 6 aspirations, but even if they had won, that probably still might not have been there. But it felt like it was a huge opportunity. But yeah, you're right. I mean, you probably got to go 2001, when it was undefeated 12-0 and BCS knocking on the door. This is a huge game for BYU.
Huge game. Good stuff, Mitch. As always, Mitch Harper does great work. The BYU Insider. I'm Matt Baiamonte. Thanks to Allie and Nate helping us out here on Cougar Nation, Cougar Sports Saturday. Have a great night, and we'll be back Saturday for pregame coverage here on KSL News Radio.